Welcome back to the Hoosier Animal Law Officers webinar series. I'm Hannah Fisher and I'm the president of HALO. In this episode, we will discuss people, resources, websites, and other agencies that you should be aware of that can help you do your job to the best of your ability. We will start with local organizations, work our way to state organizations, and then proceed to national resources. As a disclaimer, this webinar and its videos, pictures, and other associated content has been compiled by HALO Incorporated. The information in this webinar is for educational purposes only, and it is not intended to provide a substitute for consulting with legal professionals. So, stealing the Department of Homeland Security's tagline that emergencies start and end locally, there is some correlation in our profession. Now, not every call is an emergency, but local resources is something we really want to emphasize that you are aware of. So the following things are things, even if you work for just a city or a town, you should know these resources county-wide. First off, you should be aware of all animal control facilities within your county. If you are just a city or town agency, is there a county organization? Are there other city, town, and organizations, etc.? Be sure you know these organizations and also have a direct contact at each. Additionally, you should be aware of all humane societies, shelters, rescues, foster-based organizations, etc. within your county that are housing animals. You should also be aware of all veterinary clinics, or if you have one, the low-cost clinics within your area, so that when people are asked for referrals or asked for help, you know where you can send them. Some other things that are not as imperative to know, but are a good idea to have a general idea of, include pet supply stores. You can help build relationships with these stores, perhaps run adoption events, get donations, or just have another point of contact. Pet boarding, grooming, and daycare facilities, and then also if you have any wildlife rehabilitators within your county. So basically within the county that you work for, you should be aware of almost every animal-related activity that's going on. Serving as a professional within your county, having this information, and being an expert in the field, this will help you for many reasons. As stated, perhaps you can get increased donations, you can foster relations, you can maybe have adoption events with some of these organizations, and just build a good working rapport so that when things go astray, you have people that you can reach out to for help. So once you develop a good foundational base of all the animal-related facilities and organizations within your own county, you can then start reaching out and learning about the counties that surround you. So in each county that surrounds you, I strongly encourage you to know at least one animal control officer contact that you can reach out to. In theory, they should know of everybody in their own county, so if you have a problem in a county next door, you can reach out to that one person and they can help you. If you have at least one contact in each surrounding county, you can branch out even further. You can try to get more than one contact in each county by learning all of the animal control agencies. You can perhaps become familiar with the animal housing facilities in those counties, and you can also maybe learn veterinary clinics and wildlife rehabilitators in those counties as well. As an example, in my specific county, I do not have an exotic veterinary clinic, but I know of two, actually I know of more than two, but I know of a couple that are nearby, and I have relationships with those, and I have their contact information basically on speed dial. So you don't need to be as aware of all of the organizations in the surrounding counties, but you should have a general idea because a lot of times we see cases that kind of bleed over from one county to the other. And if you can know more about the counties that you're going to be working with and build those rapport with your neighbors, that could really come in handy during your investigations and your cases. So branching out even further from your own county and surrounding counties, we then start to look at some statewide organizations. So as you know, HALO is Indiana's Animal Care and Control Association. So if you have questions or concerns or need help, you can reach out to us. Our contact information is on our website at HoosierAnimalLawOfficers.org. Our executive board email addresses are there, or you can also message us on Facebook. As HALO continues to grow, we are maintaining a database of organizations within each county. And so as we go, we will continue to see that list and that database increase. So we hope to be a great point of contact for people that are in need of finding somebody in a specific county or having a general question. We can try to get you that information as quickly as possible. So another great resource that we are lucky to have within the state is an organization called Campbell Research and Consulting. The founder of this organization, Andrew Campbell, does a lot of research on the link, so the connection between interpersonal violence, elder abuse, animal abuse, and domestic violence. So he serves as a great resource. He takes data and evaluates it and analyzes it, and then he also does research about preventative measures, response to these situations, and what we can do to change the field, and basically put humans and animals in safer positions. So I strongly encourage you to check him out on Facebook at Campbell Research and Consulting. Look at his website, read some of his articles. He actually just rolled out a webinar series on YouTube himself to put some of this information out there. But he highlights the link and how animal professionals and professionals within the human violence world, how we can all work together and make things better for animals and humans across the state. So as we learned in the previous webinars, the Board of Animal Health in Indiana serves as animal control officers experts for court-related cases. So the Board of Animal Health has several roles, but one thing that they do is assist animal control professionals with evaluating animals that are impounded for criminal investigations and basically making a recommendation to the court with their report or with their testimony on what they think should be done for the best interest of the animals. So we're going to go through some important contacts within the Board of Animal Health and then provide information for every district's field vet. So before we move to the next slide, just take a moment and find your county and then find the number that associates with that district. And then on the next slide, we'll discuss who your district field vet is. So BOA is a very large department, but there are a couple of people that I wanted to highlight because they serve as very relevant resources for us. First off, Dr. Brett Marsh is the state veterinarian. So whereas there are district vets, Dr. Brett is the state vet. Another person you may talk to frequently is Dr. Jody Lovejoy. She oversees the animal care and commercial dog breeders programs and serves as a great contact for animal husbandry questions or questions related to dog breeder permits and regulations. Another great resource is Dr. Jennifer Strasser. She oversees aquatic animal health, so if you run into a fish question or any type of animal living in water, she serves as a great resource and provides some insight. Dr. Sandra Norman oversees equine health, and she also oversees the rabies program. So if you have a weird rabies case or an animal exposure or human exposure you're not quite sure what to do with, she's a great resource to reach out to and ask for help. Sarah Simpson serves as the BOA legal attorney, and she can help you with legal affairs if you have questions about interpretation of a law or you have something weird come up. She's a great resource to ask those questions too. And then last, Denise Dare is the public information officer. She can help you with community outreach programs, basically anything related to media relations and just getting information out, or if you have a general question about BOA. So everybody within BOA is a great resource, very intelligent people, but those are some of the people that you may have specific questions for. So their contact information is there to reach out to. So now the district vets are all circled in red. So these individuals serve as your state, basically your state resource and your district vet for your animal cases. So if you have an animal welfare case or an animal investigation, this needs to be who you are talking to do the evaluations and to complete the report. So if you haven't already been introduced to these people or worked with them, I strongly encourage you to message them, send them an email, give them a phone call, and reach out and explain who you are to build that relationship now. So if it comes to a need that you already have that relationship built. So another great resource is called My Case. My Case is the public unofficial court record system, but it has a lot of good information that you can use for either checking histories of people or screening people that are putting in to adopt animals. So the website is simply mycase.in.gov, or you can just Google Indiana My Case and it'll be one of the first few that pop up. So when you get to the case search page, which can be found at the My Case website, you can search the information in a variety of ways. You can either type in the case number if you know the case number, or if you switch to the name tab, you can search by first and last name. You don't need date of births, but do know that if it's a common name, you might get multiple matches, but you don't necessarily need that information. You just need a first and last name. You can also adjust which county you're searching in or which court type, so civil or criminal or probate, and then you can find this information. So here's a few examples. So when you search a person, all of their cases will pop up. So the first thing that will show is who the plaintiff and the defendant were, which court it's being filed through, the case type, whether it's an infraction or a misdemeanor, the dates related to it, the status of it, and then what the charge is. So in these, for example, the top one you see is an infraction level ticket for a dog running at large. The second one is a misdemeanor offense for cruelty to an animal. So the search screen will reveal these, and then you can further click on the highlighted blue to open even further details of the case. So when you open the further details, you'll see things such as number of counts of the charge, the status of the charge, so when was it filed, when have they had an initial hearing, if there was one, when do they have a trial for it, when do they have another court date for it, and then once it's decided, you'll see the determining factors of it also in the outcome of the case. So this is a great way to, again, track cases that you have, look into people that maybe you're looking into adopt animals, and or just looking at people to see kind of what their history was. Now this is limited to Indiana, so it is possible that people have cases outside of Indiana, but this is a great starting resource, especially if you don't have the ability to run somebody as law enforcement sometimes does. Another good resource to be aware of is the Purdue University Extension offices. Nearly every, if not all, counties in Indiana do have a local office, but to find yours, you can contact your district office and they can refer you to the right contact. The Purdue Extension offices have a tremendous impact in the livestock, farming, and agricultural community. They can help with large-scale disasters, livestock emergencies, and also have a plethora of animal husbandry resources. A lot of times these extension offices will also have a great relationship with local 4-H initiatives, and they can further assist you with animal-related matters. On that note, another good resource to have at hand is the local 4-H chapter. Your county may not have a chapter, but one of the surrounding counties probably does. 4-H can serve as a great resource for animal husbandry information and also networking. 4-H organizations usually always know a lot of people or know somebody who can help you out. They can also potentially help in a pinch for housing options such as rabbits. A lot of 4-H handlers and 4-H members will help you out if you need temporary housing for animals or point you in the direction of somebody that can help you out if your community is in need of those services. So just try to come up with a contact for 4-H either in your county or in a surrounding county, and you may need their services in that relationship at some point down the future. So as you know, one of the roles of animal control officers and animal welfare professionals is rabies control and bite investigations. So depending on your jurisdiction, your health department may be responsible for the rabies specimen sample submissions, or you may be. LimbsNet is the Department of Health's lab's web-based submission system. You can create an account with LimbsNet, and this allows you to enter data electronically rather than on paper forms. So you would create an account, fill out the information online, and then you'd still have to take your specimen in person, but you could electronically track the testing of the submissions for rabies testing. So if you want to learn more about it, the website is posted, and on that website you will find an email address. It's a support email address that you can email to set up an account. But again, make sure you're having conversation with your local health department or whoever typically does the rabies submissions in your county just to see if this is going to be an okay next step for your jurisdiction. So moving on to the national level, there are several organizations to take note of. First is NACA, the National Animal Care and Control Association. HALO is actually a NACA state affiliate now, so NACA memberships are discounted for HALO members. NACA provides several resources, training, guidelines, mission statements, etc. for the industry, and also works to increase professionalism and standardization across the nation. A couple other national organizations are Code 3 Associates. Code 3 Associates hosts an animal control training program, and then also the University of Missouri Extension, or the Law Enforcement Training Institute. They also offer an animal control curriculum for training purposes. Two other national organizations that are not directly related to animal control are the National Coalition on Violence Against Animals, which is called NCOVA, and the National Link Coalition. These two organizations highlight the connection between crimes against animals and also crimes against people, and further dive into these statistics and what can be done to prevent and mitigate some of these incidents. Another national organization is the Animal Legal Defense Fund. The ALDF does a lot for the animal welfare movement in terms of very large court proceedings and investigations and basically legislative inquiries and changes. But something more relevant to us is they also have several resources related to animal cruelty investigations. They also will offer to train prosecutors within your area. They have a plethora of resources that they can send you in terms of hard copies of things. They have some online based trainings and resources, and they also just have some general information out there regarding the basics of animal cruelty. So if you ever stumble upon something that's very odd in the court system, you can reach out to them for guidance, or you can just peruse their website and see what they have to offer. So a few miscellaneous resources that we need to mention include the Indiana Gaming Commission. Now, the Indiana Gaming Commission's primary concern is related to gambling in the sense of casinos, lottery, betting, those kind of things. But the Gaming Commission also is the primary resource for animal fighting related cases within the state. So if you ever run into a cockfighting or dog fighting operation, I strongly encourage you to reach out to the Gaming Commission. They have several experts on this topic. They have resources and sheltering provisions for these types of cases, and they can serve as a great resource for these large cases that you may run into. So for several of us out there, we have very limited sheltering capabilities. So if we have a fighting case or a large hoarding case, or sometimes even a smaller hoarding case, we may need assistance with animal placement. Both the ASPCA and the Humane Society of the United States have field teams. The HSUS team is called the Animal Rescue Team, and the ASPCA's team is called the Fur Team. But basically, these organizations can assist with large operations or investigations in cases that you may not have the resources to handle by yourself. Sometimes that involves them coming out and handling things completely, and other times it includes them making contacts with other rescues, shelters, and agencies within your state and just kind of facilitating assistance. But they both serve as great resources. They both have a huge networking base. So if you ever have an issue where you think you're not going to be able to handle the capacity of the animals that is coming in, reach out to them and have a conversation, and they may be able to help or at least point you in the right direction. We also wanted to make note of several online training resources that exist. First is FEMA, the Federal Emergency Management Agency. There are some courses through FEMA that are relevant to animal care and control. A couple of these classes include Animals in Disaster, Awareness and Preparedness, Animals in Disaster, Community Planning, and also Livestock in Disasters. So these trainings can be found on the FEMA website. There are also trainings related to Incident Command that I encourage you to take just as a general knowledge base of large-scale disasters and how things are handled. Another online training platform is ASPCA Pro. They have several training options within their organization. They have webinars that highlight individual topics. They have webinar series that break down a topic amongst several webinars. And then they also have some online courses. Most of these resources are free to animal care and control professionals. You can create an account by going to their website, aspcapro.org. And then in addition to the online training formats, they do also have a lot of good information in relation to animal husbandry, animal care, and animal control operations. So another training platform online is the Justice Clearinghouse. The Justice Clearinghouse does a lot of traditional law enforcement training, but they do feature quite frequently animal-related webinars. There is, however, a subscription fee for this training platform. It's $15 a month or $119 a year. I do believe they also have agency memberships, but please make note that it's free for NACA members to have a Justice Clearinghouse website. And as we mentioned before, HALO members get a discounted NACA membership. So in theory, you could get your HALO membership, get a discounted NACA membership, and then get a free Justice Clearinghouse membership. So we encourage you to join these organizations or just take a look at the Justice Clearinghouse webinars. They do feature their webinars for free if you watch them live, but the membership allows you to go back later and watch any other recorded webinar. One final online training platform is the Indiana Law Enforcement Academy, who uses firstforward.com as their hosting agency for these webinars. There are a few relevant cases that are done by Dr. Jody Lovejoy that are in terms of animal hoarding, animal neglect, and animal abuse and fighting. Now, this membership is limited to law enforcement officers, but it is possible that if you contacted ILEA, the Indiana Law Enforcement Academy, they may be willing to give you a membership to this website still if you explain your interest in these classes and what your role is in animal care and control. But these classes can be applied to continuing ed hours or the training requirements for any law enforcement officers out there. The webinars are about 30 minutes each and give you about 1 or 2 credit hours towards the training requirements within the state. But just another good resource that's coming straight from the Law Enforcement Academy. So I've provided you with a lot of contacts, organizations, individuals, agencies, websites, etc. that hopefully will serve to help you better do your job in the animal care and control profession. These are not all of the resources, these are just several that are seen and used on a regular basis. And at the end of the day, you don't need to know all of the answers, you just need to know where to find them. So hopefully some of these resources will help you smoothly find answers to some of the questions you're either asking yourself, being asked by coworkers, or maybe being asked by the general public. But this is not an individual game. This is something that we should all be working together with. We should network, and we should use these connections to the best of our ability to make everything run smoother. I hope that in this webinar you learned of at least one new resource that you can utilize as you do your daily jobs in the animal care and control profession. We appreciate you taking the time to watch this. We know you all have busy schedules, but hopefully you found this webinar to be helpful. Next month, we will go over some report writing basics, talk about what to include, what not to include, picture taking, how to word things, documentation, etc. So we hope you continue to follow us and check out that webinar. If you haven't already done so, please like us on Facebook at Hoosier Animal Law Officers. Be sure to check out our website, HoosierAnimalLawOfficers.org, for upcoming events. And as always, stay safe out there.